Hello and welcome to another show. Thank you for all my new subscribers, those of you who are viewing this for the first time and are not yet subscribed. What are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe bell and those notifications now. Do it now. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Do it now. For you who left comments, I appreciate them. They're very encouraging and I try to respond as soon as I can. Today, I'm going to discuss this whole FTX mess, the rise and fall, and the little missing pieces that a lot of people seem not to be talking about. For whatever reasons, probably we'll discover as we dive into this rabbit hole. So, without further ado, let's get a little bit of information, a little bit of groundwork, and then we'll dig in a little deeper and see if we can find out if there were red flags and maybe if this whole mess could have been stopped, right? Let's see. Let's do a little intro, get some background information.
Sam Bankman-Fried, with his moppy hair and unsuspecting look, is at the center of this story. He was born in 1992 in California to an academic and politically connected family. His mother, Barbara, is a lawyer and the co-founder of multiple Democratic fundraising organizations. Sam's father, Joseph, was a law professor and would later help his son raise funds for his company. In 2014, Sam would graduate from MIT and would go on to work at the New York trading firm Jane Street Capital. There, he realized that he could make untold amounts of money trading cryptocurrency. He discovered a loophole where he could buy Bitcoin cheaper in America and sell it for a higher price in Japan. Sometimes he would shift up to $25 million a day. In 2017, he would use the money from these trades to start his own company, Alameda Research. Alameda Research was made up mostly of Sam's MIT college friends and former work colleagues. This firm would later be a key player in the collapse. Sam supposedly believed in effective altruism, which he described as, quote, trying to figure out what practical things you can do with your life to have as much positive impact as you can on the world. He would make an impact on the world, all right, but it was by no means positive.
So this guy is trying to have a positive impact on the world. And this is the kind of mess that he leaves people in. This is why you can't always go by what people say. You have to look at what they're actually doing. All right, so you got a little bit of background information about him. Mother is an attorney, also raises capital for the Democrat Party. That's really plain and simple. Father's a law professor who later helped him raise money to start his own business. All right, straightforward. Graduated from MIT, good for him. Went to work at Jane Street, also good for him. Making a lot of money. Now, when you start making a lot of money and transferring these large amounts of money from one country to another, where's the oversight? Let's just start right there. Right? Because people will act like, when you're here in America, you're dealing with small amounts of money. Let's say you go to Western Union, right? You're receiving $1,000 from somebody. They will act like you are part of funding terrorism, or if you're sending $1,000 to somebody, that you're funding terrorism. Right? They want all these pieces of information from you, and they make your life hard. Like, let's say if your license is old, it looks a little bit rugged, like, oh, we can't use that, we don't know if that's you. But you're allowing someone to transfer large masses of money to a foreign country. No oversight. Okay.
Perhaps to appear more trustworthy, as Sam became rich, he would promote himself as the resourceful billionaire, choosing to drive an average Toyota instead of a typical supercar. But in reality, he would own a $30 million mansion in the Bahamas. Regardless, many social...
So all the time this dude was fronting in these ads, right? I'm pretty sure some of you have seen the ads on YouTube, on social media. There's this guy asking him, oh, what car do you drive? And he points to like a Toyota Corolla or something like that. But he has a $30 million mansion. You see how reality and perception are not the same?
social media influencers would later buy into Sam's humble brand image, and many promoted his companies.
Okay, the guy you see next to me is the most generous billionaire in the world, and I found him.
Hi, my name is Sam.
While trading at Jane Street, Sam would make a few friends. One of these was Caroline Ellison. She and Sam would begin dating. Back in 2017, Caroline wasn't really sure what to do for a career. Sam suggested working at his new company, Alameda Research. She didn't mean to get into trading, but Caroline thought that she might as well give it a go. And with that, someone with little to no experience would quickly be on her way to becoming the CEO of what would become a multi-billion-dollar operation.
I don't know about anybody out there, but I don't want a person like this to be my CEO. If I'm working somewhere, in whatever capacity, whatever the job is, I do not want this person to even be above me in any capacity. So that's misogynistic, that's possibly racist, and it's okay. Let me give you context, and then maybe you can tell me. Maybe I'm the one that's crazy. I don't know. Just thinking out loud here.
We're in the Bahamas.
And to make things worse, some of the things that Caroline said in interviews weren't too encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely could pull it off without my math degree. Use very little math. Use a lot of elementary school math. Being comfortable with risk is very important. We tend not to have things like stop losses. I think those aren't necessarily a great risk management tool. I'm trying to think of a good example of a trade where I've lost a ton of money. Well, I don't know. I probably don't want to go into specifics too much with that.
Do you want this person as the CEO of your company handling billions of dollars? Not me? I don't think so. Now, I understand this is a capitalist society. There's a lot of nepotism. People put their friends on. You get to a certain point in life, you're making a lot of money. Obviously, the people that are closest to you, you want them to have a part of that wealth. That's fine. That's totally understandable. But what you don't do is put them in a position or in positions that they don't have the capabilities for. Because that is what led to this. If anybody that was this guy's friend had a voice and said, listen, what are we doing right now? If anything happens in the economy, for any reason, it starts failing, this ship is going to start taking on water really fast. Nobody said anything. Everybody's happy to take the money and, just keep riding until the wheels fall off. But let's see why maybe there might have been some red flags. That was obviously one. There was more, but there's certain people kept it hush hush. Listen.
It's reported that the head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, and Caroline's dad, Glenn Ellison, both worked at MIT as professors. At MIT, Caroline's dad was the former boss of the head of the SEC. An alleged leaked email shows that the SEC was going to give FTX, quote, no action relief.
What does that mean?
Basically, this means, we know that you're breaking the rules, but we'll look the other way. If these reports are true, we could be looking at genuine corruption within the US government.
We could be. We are. Not we could be, we are looking at genuine corruption. Where are all the three-letter agencies that make the average person's life so difficult? Right? This one right up here. They're supposed to have all the intel, everything they're supposed to know about it. Where were they? You mean to tell me nobody knew about this? But what the problem is? As I said, the biggest one is nepotism. But when you start making a lot of money you attract a lot of people. People come out of the woodwork just to hobnob with you, right? This is part of the problem that we're seeing now with all the names that are on that what is it? I think the document in Florida suing Tom Brady, Naomi Osaka, Shaquille O'Neal, Curry. That's how it happened. This guy, this slob of a person with the crazy unkept hair, all of a sudden he's a billionaire, and now everybody wants to rub shoulders with him. Everybody's like, yeah, we want to know what you did. But what he did was illegal. He was actually using investors' money, playing it in the stock market and cryptos, losing big time and cooking the books. Because the token that they had was essentially worthless. They created the value. Let's look at a cast of characters that's involved.
Look at, let's call it the top 30 or so cryptocurrencies by market cap.
What's up?
I'm getting into crypto with FTX. You in?
Nope, not in.
In July 2021, it was reported that FTX was averaging $10 billion a day in trading volume across its 1 million users. By this stage, FTX had a UC Berkeley stadium named after them, an advertising partnership with the Golden State Warriors, and the Mercedes F1 team. They even had an NBA stadium in Miami named after them.
Do you hear anybody in the media asking all these people that took part in FTX, all these big corporations, Mercedes-Benz, the Warriors, etc., do you hear them asking for these people to take liability for so openly advertising for FTX and bringing them customers who have now lost their money?
FTX was involved in every corner of the crypto space. As FTX grew, it became a household name. Promotional material included stars like Tom Brady, Stephen Curry, Naomi Osaka, and Larry David. And according to NBC, these stars received equity in Sam's company in return. In fact, it's reported that Tom Brady put his $650 million fortune into FTX. It's worth noting that this whole time, FTX had no board of directors, just Sam, another employee, and a lawyer. FTX even became involved geopolitically, being a partner of the World Economic Forum. They also built the infrastructure to supply funds to Ukraine.
This part is going to be very important, because my suspicion is this is where a lot of that liquid capital went to. They claim it was in bad investments where they lost a lot of money. I'm actually not buying that. The fact that they have been donating heavily to the Democrats makes me believe that a lot of the money that was siphoned out of that place went to Ukraine. That's my belief.
Basically, converting cryptocurrency donations
And I'll show you why in just a moment.
Into fiat currency for deposit at the National Bank of Ukraine. At this stage, Sam became knee-deep in politics. Soon, he would be worth $26 billion. He donated $5 million to Joe Biden in 2020 alone, and $50 million to politicians ahead of the 2022 midterm elections.
That's this year.
But there's a hidden detail to this story. A lesser-known player within FTX was Ryan Salame. He donated $23 million to Republican politicians to also gain political leverage for FTX. Left or right isn't the point here. The main issue is that this company was buying political influence and nobody was paying attention.
I'm sure there were people paying attention. But because they're greasing so many palms, what are the people who are actually paying attention going to do? Right? As I said, they have all this star power behind them. You saw him with Bill Clinton. He's giving money to Joe Biden. They gave $50 million to the Democrats that just had elections November 8th. And $50 million. And right after that, FTX crashes. It smells, smells very, very fishy. And I'm going to show you a couple more. Well, not a couple. I'm going to show you a few more things. And you have to take that Let me make you understand. I'm going to show you this example.
He had a great idea and were looking for an investment. Sam could say, here's $5 million, but it's not dollars. It's an FTT. Frankly, he was using money that didn't exist to buy things. As Corey Clipston...
Quite frankly, that is also what the Federal Reserve does. They print money out of thin air, go back in silver or gold. They put on it, right? They print these things on it, and it says legal tender for all, right here. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So this really has no value. It's assigned a value, but it has no backing, right?
CEO of the investment platform, Swan Bitcoin, puts it, quote, "It's fascinating to see that the majority of net equity in the Alameda business is actually FTX's own centrally controlled and printed out of thin air token." On November 2nd, Sam's worst fears were realized when behind-the-scenes information about Alameda finally leaked. A report by the news outlet CoinDesk detailed a very unhealthy balance sheet that allegedly showed that much of Alameda's $14.6 billion in assets were held in FTT, the coin made up by Sam and his friends. In essence, Sam created a coin, artificially attributed value to it, and then used it as collateral to finance his projects. It was very, very shady. For Sam,
shady is downright criminal. This is essentially what he did. These are the tokens. I'm going to assign a value of 50 grand each to one of these tokens, right? 50 grand. I got what? 30 of these. So that mass value, I'm going to take out a loan for this value. Mind you, I could have said this was a penny, but I chose to say it's 50 grand. And it's worthless. That's essentially what he did, right? And you're like, but how? Well, I just showed you how. You have people within the SEC or family friends with this guy's girlfriend. He has aligned himself with all kinds of people. Look at this. This was supposed to be an event this month, right? Today is November 19th. This was supposed to be this month, November 30th, 2022, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. New York Times events. Look at the cast of characters here. Look at the speakers. New York City Mayor. From TikTok. From BlackRock. Netflix. From Amazon. These are giants in the market, right? From CNN, Communist News Network, President and CEO, New York Times, right? Oh, look at this guy. Who's this? Don't we know who this guy is? Netanyahu, right? Look, Mike Pence, right? People with political power. Secretary Janet Yellen. And look who's this? Zelensky, Ukraine. Where did we say that money was going to once it's liquid? Look, Meta. Right? So this guy is hobnobbing of people with political clout, people with all kinds of power and money and influence and very well-paid lobbyists. This is why they were able to bilk people for so long with no problem. I say how that happens? Well, if you have people with political clout and in the government, and they have influence over the media, this is what happens.
So this happened, and thank goodness it's over, right? I mean, this doesn't happen anymore because this all happened and it was exposed in the church committee and the family jewels and all that, and it's done, right? I mean, could you imagine if, say, the ex-director of the CIA was currently a contributor to MSNBC? That would be crazy, wouldn't it? Or could you imagine if a former FBI agent was now an active national security contributor to NBC News, or if the former FBI special agent was now the CNN political analyst, or a former Homeland Security official was a CNN national security analyst, or a former DEA administrator was an MSNBC legal and political analyst with his own podcast. Check it out, folks. Or James Baker, former FBI general counsel, if he was a CNN legal analyst, or if Francis Townsend, the former Homeland Security advisor for George W. Bush, was now CBS News senior security and law enforcement analyst, or if a retired CIA chief of Russia operations was a CNN national security analyst, or if the retired FBI supervisory special agent James Gagliano was now the CBS News security and law enforcement analyst, or if Philip Mudd, the former CIA counterterrorism official, was now the CNN counterterrorism analyst. That would be crazy, wouldn't it, guys? Oh, yeah. Okay. It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you have political clout, you have financial clout. So you have money not just to buy off people in the private industry, you have money to buy off people in government. And you say, okay, where's the thread going? Well, the government has influence in the media. You see where the thread's going? So you have these high-powered people, who was he with? Clinton? Who did he give money to? Biden? These people are over this, entity right here, and others, all the three-letter ones. So obviously they're not going to go after a guy like this until it really is, where they have no choice. Like, now it's in the toilet. He owes a lot of money, so what choice do they have? But it's built on the same premise. That's how they were operating all along. Effectively a Ponzi scheme. But nobody went after him. And you might ask, why? How are they able to do that? Well, let's take a look here. This is a Northwestern University Law Review paper. And I will point your attention to, let me give you the heading first, right? The Smith-Mundt Act. If you don't know what it is, look it up. The fact that it has been repealed on the domestic dissemination ban means that the government is allowed to disseminate propaganda to its people. Right? The American government is allowed to disseminate propaganda to its people. So let me just read a small part of it so you get context. More radical members of this group believe that the repeal is an ominous first step toward a bleak Orwellian future in which the federal government dominates American media. Yeah? Federal government? These guys? The whole cast of characters that was shown before? Right? Government people? You know what I mean? Now, the government people get paid heavily by these private contractors as lobbyists to go in there and, grease palms and get things done. That's how people like Amazon can operate without a union for so long and, people have to work all these crazy shifts. That's how things like that are able to happen. Until they come out, until somebody speaks up and says, hey, why are y'all doing this? This is crazy. We have to stop it. It just continues. Right? So that's pretty much how we got there. Now, I'm going to show you what the human cost is, right? Because a lot of people want to, you hear about crypto and these companies falling and you feel like you have no stake in it, like it doesn't affect you. But the truth is, there is a human element. There's always a human element because people get fired. People lose part of their investments. People lose all of their investments, all of their money. Sometimes people lose their houses. People lose their companies. Right? And when people lose a lot of stuff or they lose a lot of money, sometimes they end up taking themselves out, unfortunately, worst case scenario. So here's the human cost.
Countless companies are affected. Sequoia Capital, one of the biggest FTX backers, announced that their stake was essentially worthless and wrote it off their books. So I guess next time, when they take an investment call with a guy playing League of Legends, they may think twice. Galois Capital, a hedge fund whose founder is credited with spotting the collapse of Luna, still had, quote, half of our capital stuck on FTX. At the time of implosion, BlockFi had to stop withdrawals and are now filing for bankruptcy. A teacher's pension fund in Canada invested almost $100 million into FTX, so now innocent people who had nothing to do with crypto could see a dent in their retirement. FTX bankruptcy files show 134 affiliate companies across the world. Estimates say that liabilities could be up to $50 billion. For a sense of scale, Enron's liabilities were $23 billion. Fittingly, FTX's new CEO is the former Enron bankruptcy lawyer.
Yo, these people can't be serious. The new CEO is Enron's former bankruptcy lawyer. Ugh. The point of all of this is, if you don't know anything about crypto, you don't know anything about investing, don't take investment advice from somebody who is not in that field, right? You can get it from a CPA, somebody that actually works at a hedge fund, or even an accountant, a money manager. Don't just get it from Tom Brady because he's good at playing football and you like Tom Brady, or Steph Curry because he's a basketball player. I've never been that attracted to star power for somebody to be able to say, hey, buy this thing because I'm using it. The only time I'll do that is for sneakers. Like, that's it. Yeah, because I could see you wearing it and okay, yeah, I'll wear it. Anything else outside of what you do, I don't want you to recommend me any cars, nothing. Right? Don't tell me what insurance to buy. Nope. No, you're not a broker. Why are you telling me about insurance? And these stars get caught up in these things, I think, probably because of their agents. They have these deals where this company wants them to advertise something, they pay them a large sum of money, and then, they do it. Now their name is stained because this is the association that they have. And of course, I know it goes without saying, I'm going to say it anyways. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Right? Please try. Okay? You want to leave some in the bank. You want to invest 10 to 15% of what you make. And that's not dependent on your salary. No more than 10 to 15%. If you're doing very well, I'd say you could probably take it to 20. Right? So if you're making over, let's say, 100 grand, your annual output is less than half of that, then you could probably do 20%. But stay within your means. Don't hang your hat higher than your hand can reach. In other words, right? Don't go out there investing crazy because you heard somebody say something and then you invest everything you have and then you lose it. Anyways, that's my time. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got some context about how this thing was allowed to happen, the cast of characters involved, government involvement, possible money laundering through Ukraine. All these crazy things are part of this situation. Right? Government agencies involved in the media, so, they're not going to talk about it until it's absolutely time when they say, well, FTX is now down the drain, so yeah, you guys in the media can talk about it all you want. Everybody else have made their money and pulled out. And you're left holding the bag. Empty, of course. Anyways, until next time, peace. I'm out.